Welcome to the Exploring New England podcast with Ryan Zipp, where each week I will be talking about what makes this historic region such an amazing place to enjoy. From the scenic views to road trip ideas to where to grab the best eats and much more. Let's get going. Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Exploring New England podcast with me, Ryan Zipp. Thank you guys for tuning in again on Thursday. And if you remember last week, I mentioned how I was recording the episode a day earlier than usual. And that was so I could go out and attempt to photograph the rising full flower moon over a spot here in coastal Connecticut that I've been wanting to try for a while. So got the episode done a little earlier last week. I typically like to kind of do it basically right before it comes out. That way I can keep the content super current and, talk about what I've been up to right up to date. So nothing is recorded too far ahead of time. And so last week on Wednesday, the night before the podcast drops, I went out to attempt a full moonrise here in my local area, coastal Connecticut. It was a shot that I've seen a few times for people that have done over the years, but just with the weather and the angle of the moonrise, I had yet to try it myself. The target was it's a popular spot in New Haven, Connecticut. I grew up in Hamden, right next door, so I spent time there for different things over the years. But there's a lighthouse there. I believe that the technical name for it is 5 Mile Light because it's roughly 5 miles from downtown New Haven for when they, first got it going back in the day. But there's a park there, beach area. There's like a venue for weddings. I was just at a wedding there last September. It's a old school carousel inside, but you have a really cool looking lighthouse. And during, a handful of months, the right angle, from the other side of the water there in the town of West Haven, you get a long distance shot to try to get the moon rising behind it to the left or right, however you want to compose it. So I headed down to that area Wednesday afternoon after I closed up my store. And it was kind of fun. I ended up grabbing a bite to eat. The spot Stowe's in West Haven. It's like a seafood restaurant there, kind of a shack type thing. A lot of tables outside. Been there forever, so went there. And then I used to live not too far from there for a while in West Haven. Lived for 3 years with my buddies, all named Nick. A couple of guys I played in the band with, and another Nick. We had a spot right down there, not far from like the West Haven Milford border. And then I ended up kind of I had a little time to kill before the moon would be rising, so I ended up down in Milford to grab a ice cream, and then ended up in front of another house we lived at in Woodmont section of Milford for I think it was just over 9 months. It was one of those academic rentals, like right on the water. So it was cool that we lived on Beach Avenue, which is where I got the name for the band I was in, Beach Avenue. You can see it up over there. So hadn't kind of been there in a bit. It was cool to sit down by the beach and relax, enjoy an ice cream, and kind of remember a bit of the memories we had there. Felt like we lived there a lot longer than 9 months, but a lot of stuff happened there that ended up being big for me moving forward with all my music career and everything. So it was fun to have a little flashback, and the weather was beautiful. But then did head back in time to the West Haven coastal area, beach area. It was actually the spot I would be standing from was over, I believe it's part of Sandy Point. It's like a protected area over there, a lot of bird watching. And from that area, I think it was just about 1.8 miles from where I would be standing to the lighthouse itself. So I was at 700 millimeters. My 100 to 500 lens had the 1.4 converter on, so at 700. So the goal would be to get the moon right when it was going up over the horizon behind the lighthouse, so it would look, you know, extra big as you've seen in photos from me and other people when you have a real distant subject like that. But what happens a lot on the shoreline, there was a bit of thick haze, which could happen even if it's clear everywhere else around you. So you just never know what's going to happen. You have to be prepared. So when I think the moon is coming up, I'm looking and then look through the camera and I could see it faintly popping up, but it's blocked. And then as it's rising higher, I'm kind of shifting position and it starts coming through a little bit more, but not a lot of detail. And then obviously as it gets up higher, further away from the lighthouse, appearing smaller. But there was a point, it was like a happy medium where it was coming through enough with enough detail, and it was still close enough to the lighthouse. And I got a good shot. It wasn't like the ideal plan, but what happens a lot of times is I don't get any shot because Mother Nature said no way, like full cloud cover. So if I have to grade the success of it and the final image, I would give it a B plus. I'd say that's being fair. So I was glad that I was able to shoot it and added another new spot to my full moonrise collection. And to get one so close to home and a spot I've known forever was made it even better. So I'm sure a lot of you guys follow me already saw it, but it'll be up here on the YouTube version next to me at some point during that. Last week, I talked about a quick trip to Cape Cod before the busy season and checking out the heritage museums and gardens for the first time. They had their rhododendron festival going on and everything in bloom, and it was a really good experience. So if you've never been, definitely wanted to add on the list for a Cape visit whenever that kind of works into a schedule. And the other topic from last week was continuing to chase the lupine flowers around New England. And I spoke about a number of coastal Maine locations where I've gone for them and gotten them over the last few years. So today, for one, kind of a little bit of an awkward update. The first spot that I led off this whole lupin theme and where to chase them was what's become the epicenter for them in New England over the years, and that's in Sugar Hill, New Hampshire, up in the White Mountains. For I don't know, 25, 30 something. I forget the exact thing, so don't quote me on it. But for many years, they had a festival there in June for the first couple weeks where it would celebrate these lupin flowers blooming around this tiny town in the White Mountains. And it was just something to get, people to come visit the town, help with, the businesses there to support them and everything, and other, businesses in the area, but also, just be this amazing thing that people came to enjoy every year. Then the festival didn't happen 2020, the first year of pandemic, like a lot of other things. And after that, they never got back to it. The last time I was there 3 times during this stretch, 2019, 2021, and 2022, photographing these great scenes and just enjoying it. I did not go there last year. I ended up, I forgot where I ended up during that time frame, but so, as like many other publication blogs, Yankee Magazine and such, shared that this is, one of the best spots for it and also where to kind of kick things off. But, apparently there had been a number of people over the last few years going there and in a number of the fields, not respecting the property and, walking in, damaging flowers, and some other assorted things, which obviously never a good idea. I think I stress in my posts and other times on here that no matter where you go, there's going to be a lot of times when you're going to pull over on sides of roads, pull over as far as you can. Obviously, don't park anywhere you shouldn't. Respect private property. Don't enter anywhere you shouldn't. Stay on sidewalks, roads, etc. It just comes down to using common sense. So, long story short, because of apparent actions, one of the largest fields of them there, or I don't know if it's 1 or 2 fields technically, that I kind of told you guys about, the owners decided to mow them this year, before the lupin could bloom. And they did that, in as a result of these actions of, obviously like a minority of people, not the majority, but and so obviously that was a bummer. I mean, I get it; it's their land, and whatever happened, and I've seen a small number of people at all sorts of locations over the years, kind of not doing the right thing. The majority of the people do, but it's a classic case that they ruin it for everyone else. So, and at Polly's, the pancake parlor everyone knows about. I talked about it. I know they had some problems over the years in one of their fields, and they certainly don't need the extra business. They're always busy. But there still is a page on Facebook called the Celebration of Lupin, run by someone in town. I'm not sure exactly who, but they're still posting daily updates of the other fields there. They have some craft fairs and markets and other things going on the first few weeks of June. And they're stressing, obviously, to be respectful of any private property, et cetera, et cetera. So, on one hand, you still have people highlighting it, talking about, events going on, and there are still going to be some of these flowers. But if you do so, do it respectfully. But I just wanted to give you guys a bit of an update because I just found out about this like the 24th or 25th. So it was just this past week, and it was long after I had recorded that episode where I featured it. So again, if you made plans, don't freak out. It's obviously still a beautiful area, and you could still go there, be respectful and kind of. But I haven't been there in 2 years now, and with this going on, I'm just not sure exactly what the vibe is going to be. Definitely feels a bit off to me. It's like some people in the area still want to highlight it, and then other locals are just completely tired of it, and they don't want anyone there during these few weeks. So I had initially planned, since I hadn't been there in a few years, to head up this coming weekend to the White Mountains in general and make a loop through there just because, again, I enjoy it. I've had some great memories there. But with all this going on, I don't think I'm going to swing through. I'm still going to go up. I'm kind of using this as a motivation to find some new views and new fields of them because they are over a lot of places, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. It's not just these certain towns or fields that, people like myself and others highlight. So I'm going to try to find some new fields of them, different perspectives, and just, drive some roads I like to check out there. Obviously, cruise down the Kank and go through Crawford Notch. And it's been about a year and a half since I've been up there, just the way the schedule played out last year. So I'm excited to get back and, hopefully find some new scenes. And, so just wanted to update you guys on all of that. And then, like I enjoy doing on here, is to kind of highlight other things coming up in the next few weeks, month, for you guys to think about as some target ideas for road trips, overnights, weekends, etc. And another event coming up in mid-June that I've attended a few times now is up in Vermont, central Vermont, and that's up near Woodstock in the small town of Quechee. I believe it's Quechee. I'm going to catch a ration if I'm not saying it right, but I've heard it both ways, Quechee, Quechee. So honestly, I'm not sure. So please excuse me if I say it wrong during this, but I've been told it's both ways. So if you know the correct pronunciation, let me know. So I'll use that moving forward. So anyway, back to the event there. It's during June 14th to 16th coming up, and it's the 44th annual Hot Air Balloon Festival there. And it's a really cool event. And Quechee, again, is the next town over from Woodstock, which I'm sure many people know about. It's one of the most visited tourist-related towns in Vermont. It's beautiful, stunning downtown area, etc. But you've probably seen photos, again, if you've been following New England content, photographers, creators over the years, from this event with these beautiful different color hot air balloons flying up in the sky, and getting photos of them, and it's a whole event. So it goes on every year in mid-June, and there's, I believe, at least 20 different hot air balloons that show up with their owners. There might be more, but I think they do at least 20 every year, I read. And it's a whole event. It's I believe tickets are $20 adult, $5 kids. You have to go online. double check like always, but you go on there to purchase tickets. They have, besides the balloons, they have live music going on, a number of vendors, food trucks, beer garden, and this goes on from Friday to Sunday. That's June 14th to the 16th. For me being a photographer and someone traveling around New England trying to capture all the different things around New England for each season and each time of year, this was kind of something I wanted to get some shots of. So the first time I went was 2022, I believe. And so go up, obviously run to my store. I can't go up Friday night, Saturday morning. So I leave to get there for Saturday night for the so what they do, besides all these events going on, they actually have rides where you can go up in these hot air balloons that you have to prearrange with the owners of each balloon. I don't know what the cost is, but basically you book a balloon ride. But all this is contingent on weather, whether it's rain or wind or whatever else they determine as not being safe for them to go up. So there's, as far as the launch times, Friday night, Saturday early morning, Saturday night, Sunday early morning, and Sunday night for the conclusion of the festival. So there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So 5 different opportunities to see the balloons launch. And I guess if you're going to try to book a trip up in one. So I missed this the first year. I missed the Friday night and Saturday morning, but neither of them went off due to weather, wind and rain. So I get up there Saturday just in time for hopefully for them to go off to fly. This was the first visit, so I honestly didn't even know the best perspective or kind of where to stand for photos. So I was actually inside the grounds, and then waiting, and again they called it off. That was Saturday night. So get up early Sunday morning, get up before sunrise again, get over there, and no go again. So now we're down to the last, which is Sunday night. So get there again, and I feel like that one was just canceled even way early just with the wind. And so so that whole first visit where I went up there for it, the balloons not only didn't even go off when I was there, but not even during the time frames during the festival when I wasn't up there yet. So I mean, obviously I was bummed, but I felt worse for all the organizers of the festival. They put a ton of work in. The hot air balloon owners, because that's how they're making a living. So I think, I don't know if it's you lose your deposit, you get back. I honestly don't know how that works if the balloons don't go up. So, but again, everyone involved puts a lot of work into this. So it was just a bummer in general that balloons didn't get to go up. They do also on Friday night and Saturday night, I believe, at dusk, they do like a glow up. So they'll inflate some of the balloons and kind of lit up. They're not going up anywhere, but it's still cool to obviously see them inflated. But I'm not sure even with weather if they got to do that year. So, visit up to this area mid-June is never bad. It's beautiful. So it wasn't like it was a total loss, but with that trip, I didn't get a single shot of the balloons up in the air. So last year, kind of went back with the same plan, same time frame for Shot at Redemption. And it started playing out the same way. I was following it before I could make it up. Friday night, weather no go. Saturday morning, weather no go. So I got up there Saturday, and this time I had a little more idea of where I wanted to stand for it. Kind of back perspective, to hopefully get them going up over the river there. And Saturday night, no go. So woke up early Sunday morning, no go. So then it's Sunday, this is the last shot. So now it's not only this year, but 2 years now of going, and get in position. I actually met my buddy Adam, who's an awesome photographer from up in Vermont. So I don't think he had ever got it before. I forget if it was his first time or not. But so we were both waiting, and it's getting like 10 minutes to the launch time, and we see nothing going on. Then it's like basically up to the launch time and nothing. So I'm like, I can't believe this, like 2 years in a row. And again, felt bad for everyone involved. And I was just like, damn, it's wild to put in, 2 complete trips up here for this, and to not get, a single shot of one of the balloons up in the air. And then it was like, obviously at that point, we were just hanging out, talking. It was like no point giving up. We're just waiting around, and we're like, you think they'll kind of wait? And I don't know if it was like 6, 7 minutes after the time frame. I don't know if it was 7 p.m. All of a sudden, we saw a balloon like inflating, and then thought at first, they were just going to do it like inflate it on the ground just so people could see something. And then all of a sudden we saw it, and it was like it was up off the ground, and then it was like go time. I was like, oh my god, it's happening. So then it was a scramble to try to compose, and then I had seen shots in the past with a bunch of them at once. It was really cool. Well, there was 3 or 4 in the air at one time, but I think because it was so screwy and off schedule, they couldn't do that. So it was like one, and then as that one's going, then there's another one going, and then it's kind of one after another. There was a few times when there was a few in the sky at once, and I was just grabbing shots and getting some video clips. But so it was fun, and it was cool to get the content I wanted, and it was like a little act of redemption. So after failing that first year and then failing again for the majority of the second trip, to finally get it. And it's just it happens a lot with things, whether it's a moonrise in a certain spot or Milky Way in a certain spot or sunset or whatever. A lot of times due to what scheduling or certain conditions or lineups, I might only have 1 or 2 chances a year for something. A lot of times just once, and basically have to wait a whole nother year to try it again. And this was one of those cases. So in this case, I was able to do it and got a lot of really cool shots. And it was a bit of it was an excitement. So there was definitely some celebration afterwards before getting back to the hotel for the night. So definitely recommend it if you're looking for something to do mid-June. Vermont is great any time of year, as I'm sure a lot of you are already aware of. I'm a big fan of Vermont, and it's a great time to go up there too because fall is crazy busy there, especially in Woodstock, which is a beautiful area to go. In the fall, it's nutty. Weekend, it's crazy, even weekdays. This time of year, not that it's not busy, but it's a lot less packed. So it's a good time to go. Downtown Woodstock, if you've never been, is like quintessential New England downtown. Beautiful green, tons of shops, some restaurants. The Woodstock Inn is kind of like right there by the green, iconic. I've never stayed there. I popped in for a drink when I was there this past winter for the snowstorm. It was cool to see the inside. I had only just seen it from outside on my numerous trips walking by. There's also a handful of other great bed and breakfasts that kind of, although not cheap, they're definitely less expensive than the Woodstock Inn, and you could still go in there for a drink or a bite and have great access to the area. One of the Blue Horse Inn I've stayed at a few times. That's it's right on the green as well, the corner of it. So very close to the Woodstock Inn, historic, building there. Great food they made in the morning for breakfast. Another spot I stayed at this past time, a little more low key, bed and breakfast type thing. The Vesper, so that was a little more kind of laid back. And then another I stayed in the area, the Jackson House Inn, down the road a little bit, so it's not right on the green, but that was another really nice bed and breakfast to check out. If that's kind of what you're going for. See what what the prices are, what they have availability whenever you head up there. But Woodstock in general is a great a great visit, great to walk around. There's another spot, the Billings Farm. There, it's like a working farm, but it's historic. They actually still have cows, goats, horses, and there's different things going on throughout the year that you could check out there. So great for you have kids especially, but adults can go too. In August, they have their like huge sunflower garden in bloom. I went there once for that. That was really cool. Christmas time, they do a whole holiday vibe setup and everything. So another one of those things to kind of check out the website for more info, admission, and all that. See what events they have going on throughout the year. And that's real close to downtown. I think you can actually walk. I've never walked from downtown, but short drive or a walk from there. And another spot I forgot when you're over in Quechee there, as you're heading to Woodstock, there's a really cool spot, Quechee Gorge. and there's like a parking area on one side. You kind of walk. Side is pretty busy road, so be careful, like anything else. But on both sides of the road, you have a view of the gorge, looking one way or the other. It's really neat. Definitely worth a stop. Uh, if you go in June or any other season. But yeah, so definitely make that stop if you're going to go up, because I'm sure you'll be hitting up both Quechee and Woodstock. And then, as far as some food in the area, Worthy Kitchen is by far my favorite in Woodstock. Definitely make it there for at least one meal on every visit. They have great smash burgers. What I like, they source all their food and ingredients from local farms, vendors, and they'll tell you up on the sign, like, this is where the beef came from, this is where the cheese came from, etc. So really good menu besides just the burgers. Good drinks. They have these Worthy donuts that are delicious. Good to treat yourself at the end, especially you have a few people there. A spot in town I like too, the Malaza Bistro. It's like a top of small plates spot. Good drinks as well. It's right there downtown. Woodstock Inn has a few different options inside, bar, restaurant. The South Woodstock Country Store is another cool spot, a little bit down, obviously in South Woodstock, but breakfast sandwiches, lunch sandwiches, like it there a lot. And also in the Lupin theme, just driving random roads, I found some cool displays of them in fields. They don't have, they're not really known as having these massive displays like at Sugar Hill, White Mountains, and up in Maine, but they're all over. So back roads there, I love checking out. So you just kind of have to drive and see what you find. Yeah, so definitely another spot to look at. Another cool event that's very unique in New England is the Quechee Hot Air Balloon Fest, June 14th to 16th, and coincide that with just a late spring, early summer visit to the Woodstock, Vermont area. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to cover this episode. And I thank you guys again for tuning in another week. Keep supporting, sharing, liking, thumbs up, subscribing if you're on YouTube viewing this. And yeah, again, share with any friends or family members who you think would like what we have going on here. And can't thank you guys enough. So check in next week. I'll report back on how the White Mountains visit went, if I found some new lupin displays or not. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next Thursday. Have a great week.